a very hard decision for you?
Well, I was able to be with them when I remained on the farm while I was pregnant, in the normal period. And then when I was ready to give birth, Arkan came for me and took me to the home planet. And when I was in the starship, of course, his older brother was there as well. And at this time when I was due to give birth, and he took me in very quietly. Of course, I'd gone up then. I didn't walk. I'd gone up the track. There's a farm track there. And I'd taken my MG motor car and gone up there and waited for Arkan. And when he came, he landed. And I said, what about my MG? I can't leave her out there on the hillside. So he simply focused the light ray on her and drew her into the hold underneath the starship. Now this light ray is anti-gravity too, so he was just able to pick the MG up and put her in the hold. There was no problem at all.
Very convenient.
Well, as Arkan said at that time, we don't have antiquated transport like this on our home planet. And of course he laughed. He had an incredible sense of humor. And then he sat me down in the starship, where of course I was completely relaxed. The atmosphere was so lovely. And of course there was Harbin there, and of course Theron, who's he's actually the navigator. And of course they navigate through the mind, which is instantaneous, and from one star system to another. And he sat me down in this very comfortable position and put my head back to rest, and he put his hand on my forehead and said, now just close your eyes and concentrate on what the starship is doing and how she is using this power system to go beyond the light barrier instantaneously from one star system to another. Because remember that you're going with her and you're a part of her, and you can't leave your mind behind. Your mind has to go too. And you must know what she's doing and how it's happening, how in the higher physics this is achieved. And all I heard was this wonderful, it was a noise it wasn't a noise, it was just a sound, like a breath of wind going through the trees almost. As the Zulus say, shawi. And it seemed to come from the outside of the starship, not from within her. And then it seemed minutes that Arkan said, now open your eyes. And I saw that we were approaching this beautiful star system of Alpha Centauri.
So it had only taken you a few minutes to actually get as far as Alpha Centauri?
Yes. You see?
Which would take us 4 years.
4 light years.
4 light years.
Yes. And there was this beautiful star system with these 2 larger components and then the smaller star. It's a triplet system. And as we approached Centauri and Proxima Centauri, which is a home star, I could see the planets in orbit around the star. And of course the colors were simply beautiful. The 2 larger stars, one was an orange color, which makes it an older star. The other one was slightly younger with an orange-red effect. And they were orbiting around each other, the whole system moving in slow progression. It was absolutely beautiful. Then we came down through the atmosphere of Meton, which was beautiful. And there was a great, beautiful cloud hovering in the atmosphere with a complete circle of a rainbow in the sky.
Were you at all worried about giving birth? Because, after all, you weren't a young woman at that stage.
No, from Earth standards, I wasn't a young woman. No, but I was 50 years old, which was in my prime, really. And Arkan attended to the birth of his son by simply using his wonderful healing hands and massaging me. And he put me on this beautiful divan that was covered in rose-red silks, and the lovely coolness and softness of that silk I'll always remember, and his healing hands. And he put me there. I was quite naked, naturally. It was a natural birth. And Pierre, his elder brother's mate, we don't talk about wives, and came as well and attended to the birth and gave me a most lovely fruit drink. And I just lay back and relaxed and had a perfectly natural birth. And Arkan literally attended to the birth of his own son. And this was so wonderful because we shared it together. And then this beautiful boy, he was really a golden boy, was born. And it was quite wonderful, really. I just think about it, it's a natural process, as it should be. And then Pierre brought this large container with this lovely water that they have on the planet. It is a beautiful, pure healing water that's full of minerals and trace elements, and put the little baby in this water, just dipped him in and out, and then they dry with warm air. There are no towels or anything like that, and no soap, and it's not necessary because the water has cleansing, healing properties. And do you know, he never even cried. He just took a deep breath, taking in that beautiful oxygen air into his lungs, and this is all he needed.
It must have been very moving for you, a very moving experience.
It was wonderful. I had no after effects. I felt so well. I felt so wonderful.
Was it very different from the birth of your other two children on Earth?
Well, that was very primitive.
Yes.
And very different, because my daughter was born naturally, but then, of course, they gave me drugs. And my son, my second child, was born cesarean section. And it was all very primitive. It took me a long time to get over.
Yes. And so this was quite a wonderful experience by comparison.
This was perfectly natural, as everything is there. I mean, their lovemaking is the most beautiful thing you could ever experience.
Was it a conscious decision that you made to have Arkon's child?
No, we were in love.
A very great and profound love story.
Yes, definitely.
And when did all this take place?
I had Aileen, his name is Aileen, and that was in 1958.
And where is Aileen now?
With his father.
Did he ever come to planet Earth?
Only once.
It must be very difficult for you to accept that.
It had been, yes, but now I have all this work to do, which Arkan wants, and this makes me live it through all over again.
The planet itself, what did it look like?
A beautiful planet, that everything is quite natural, and vast seas, beautiful land masses, lots of trees and beautiful vegetation. And the sea, of course, is very beautiful, really sapphire blue, and the skies are so lovely too, and they control the climate, of course, so there's no extreme of climate at all.
Like planet Earth at all?
No, quite different.
The fauna and flora is different.
No, there's a lot of it that's very similar because planets are similar, you know.
I didn't know. I wondered if it could be described like Earth at all. Are there roads? Do people live in houses? Is there any similarity?
Not in that way, because there are no roads, no railways. There's no necessity for them to break up and destroy the countryside.
How do they travel if there aren't roads?
In the air, in the atmosphere. They have smaller ships, just like a large starship, that are quite circular, of course, as big as a motor car, for instance, taking 5 or 6 people. And, of course, this is all powered by electrogravitics. They tap the electricity from the atmosphere or from the sea or from space. Electricity, light is everywhere.
I can see our technology is in its infancy. We have a lot to learn. And do they have money as we know it?
There's no monetary system. It's not necessary because there's an abundance of everything. There's no shortage and there's no overpopulation because they simply move out to other planets, take over other planets, prepare them for human life or animal life, and there's no shortage of anything.
You just said animal life. Now, I would dearly love to know what their animals are like. Do they have dogs and domestic animals as we do?
Well, they take them. A lot of them they've taken from Earth, for instance. And instead of having zoos as people have here, where they shut these poor creatures up, they take over a whole planet and prepare it either for carnivorous creatures or herbivorous creatures. And so they farm them out onto other planets.
A question I long to ask. Have many other Earth people been to this planet or to that system at all?
They know of it, yes.
But apart from yourself, do you know anybody else who's been there?
Not to meet on, not to meet on.
Not to meet on. Do you think it will ever be possible for us to do so?
Oh, yes. Once we have advanced in mind and culture and care and love above all.
What is the religious philosophy on Archon's planet?
Well, they live their religion. They don't just think it. You see, they have a complete harmonic interaction with all nature. And light is of all creation. Therefore, God is light, light is God. And this is their way of living. They haven't a God as we have here. It's not necessary.
So they've gone beyond the paternal aspect of God into the